right, guys. First of all, I want to start off by saying congratulations on making it all the way to your final practical exam. This is part one. You guys will have two parts to do with the final exam. In the future, right now, you guys are still doing only the haircut and the facial, but we will be changing it to the haircut and the full shave with the blood exposure. So that's going to be a change that's coming up soon. Check in with your instructor as soon as you guys watch this video to see if that's going to apply to you or if you're still going to be doing it with the facial exam. Okay, but let's go ahead and move on. First of all, again, congratulations. You guys made it all the way to 900 hours. That is a huge accomplishment. And now we're going to go ahead and test you guys on pretty much everything that you should have been learning throughout your first 900 hours. Okay. The first thing we're going to go over is we're going to talk about what you need to do as part of your final exam practical haircut evaluation. Okay, rule number one, you must cut the top of the hair minimum ½ inch. Okay, so make sure you guys look for your models. Your model has to be okay with you guys cutting at least ½ inch because it has to be a noticeable cut. We do have to see how you are following a guide system, what kind of system you're using for cutting the top of the hair. So your model has to be okay with you cutting at least ½ inch from the top of the hair. So you do have to perform a ½ inch cut with the scissors, cutting off using sections, using guide patterns. We have to make sure that you have some kind of a system that you're using to cut the top of the hair. Another thing that we're going to be looking for is going to be a bald fade. So you do have to perform a bald fade, meaning from zero shave all the way to a gradual blend to whatever it is that you're doing. Now, it is your choice. You can do a medium fade, a high fade, a low fade, a taper. You can do a burst fade, but it must be a bald fade. So if you're doing a taper, it has to be a bald transition. If you're doing a mid fade, low fade, you must have some kind of a bald transition because we do have to make sure that you're able to blend out from a 00 or a shave all the way up to whatever you have on the top of the hair. Part number three, we're also looking for scissors over comb technique. We have to make sure that we demonstrate the right technique when we're doing scissors over comb technique. Okay, now on this part, I do get a lot of people that I just tested somebody not that long ago. And one of the things that I don't like is when people do stuff just to do it. You know, I had somebody that did the scissors over comb technique in an area that didn't even need anything. He was literally just doing it. He did it maybe like 10 snips, looked at me and said, okay, I'm done with that part. Let me move on. That's not how it works, ladies and gentlemen. We want to make sure that you're using it to do some kind of connection. There has to be a purpose for each one of those steps that you're doing. If you're doing scissors over comb, you must have something that's either disconnected or somewhere that you're going to be working on to be able to show us that you know how to do the scissors over comb technique and that it's actually going to be doing something. So you're not going to do it just to do it because it's a step. You must do it and perform some type of connection or blending that you're doing that technique for. Another part that we're going to be looking for is going to be the clipper over comb technique. Same thing, same rule that we talked about the scissors. You must be using it for some kind of purpose. There has to be something that's disconnected, something that you're blending from a clip to the top of the hair, something that you're doing. You're removing a weight line, you're connecting something, whatever it is that you're doing, but there has to be a purpose for the clipper over comb technique. Again, we don't want you to do it just to do it. I've seen people grab the comb, clipper over comb, 1, 2, look at me and say, I did it, and then they put it back. There has to be a purpose for that. Make sure you guys leave some kind of weight, use it for connecting. If you're doing a fade or a taper, low fade, high fade, whatever you're doing, use the clipper over comb and scissors over comb technique to try to do a little bit of connection on the side. Now, some people are asking me, can we do thinning shears instead of regular shears for the scissors over comb technique? Yes, you can. But again, we must see the difference. You must perform and show some type of connection, whether you're taking away weight line or what are you doing with it, okay? And also, just really quick, now that I'm talking about that, when you guys are doing scissors over comb technique, remember, the technique, it means that this bottom finger is the one that's going to be opening and closing. The bottom, the other fingers on top, which are holding this blade in the bottom, this right here is called your steel blade. So this one right here is made for it to be kind of like a comb, and this blade right here is the one that's going to be cutting the hair as it's going up and down. So when you put the scissors over comb technique, you grab it and you must be performing this technique. If you're doing this, you're not doing it properly. I still see people that grab the comb and they're doing this. Like if they're cutting paper, it doesn't work like that. There's a chopping blade and a steel blade when you're doing scissors over comb technique, okay? Okay, another part that we're gonna be looking for, again, it must be a ball fade. So we wanna see what kind of system you're gonna be working with, okay? We wanna see that you're doing a fade, and we're gonna be grading you on the fade that you're doing from a ball zero, all the way up to whatever number or whatever section or whatever scissor cut you did on the top. Okay, so we do have to show a fade. Okay, another part that we're gonna be looking for is also gonna be the blow dry styling technique. This, I do want to cover a little bit about it because I feel like people sometimes don't understand. One of the main parts that we're going to start off, and right now when we get started on how we're going to be doing this process, is the consultation. Part of the styling is going to be done at the consultation as well. Because remember, your haircut is based off of the style that the person is wearing it. So when you're doing the consultation, you might want to ask, you know, what kind of haircut, what kind of style do you want? Do you style it to the back? Do you like a slick comb back? Do you like texture? Do you comb it to the front? Do you do a side part? Do you do a comb over? Do you like the front, pompadour style? What kind of style do you want? What kind of haircut are you asking for? What kind of hairstyle are you gonna use for the haircut that I'm gonna be giving you? And based on the answers, you're gonna decide what kind of hairstyle you're gonna perform at the end of the haircut based on what the client is asking you to do. Okay, so this is not gonna be up to the barber. This is more up to the consultation of the client that is telling you. So one advice that I do give you guys is get a model ahead of time, have a consultation ahead of time so that you can have your products ready for whatever hairstyle your client is gonna ask you. You guys, just really quick, I want to emphasize on how important this procedure is. This is the final exam for the practical part. This is the one that really means a lot. So we want to make sure that you guys are getting ready for this. If this is me graduating, I'm going to actually try to find a model ahead of time, not at the last minute. I'm going to have a quick consultation with them. I'm going to ask him what kind of product does he want me to put in his hair so that I can make sure I have it on my station ready to go. When the consultation happens, he's going to tell me the hairstyle. At the end, if the instructor asks you, why did you use that product? You're going to be able to answer and say, oh, well, during the consultation, my client likes messy hair. So I'm going to be using texture powder. I'm going to use a little bit of sea salt spray because he likes texture. He likes control. He likes it messy. My client likes the comb over. He likes it to be nice and slick. So I'm going to be using a stronghold gel because his hair is really thick, and the hard, strong gel is going to make the hair easily more for me to comb it and give it that slick look that he's looking for. So again, what we're looking for is to make sure that you understand the product that you're using because of the hairstyle that your client is asking you for. Another step that we must perform when we're doing this final evaluation is we want to see you perform a shave using the blade. We want to make sure, again, as a licensed barber, that's our main thing. Our main purpose to be able to use is the blade. We want to make sure that you guys are using it safely. We are going to be looking for irritation. If you cut somebody, if you got cut, if they got cut, and you use the proper system to take care for the blood exposure, we're going to be looking at all that stuff. So you want to make sure that you perform a shave using the blade. Now, you could do the taper and do the sideburns and the back and the taper lines. If you're doing a fade, you can shave the back part of the neck. We just want to make sure that I can see you perform the shave the correct way. Okay, we're ready to go ahead and get started. So you guys are going to have 1 hour to be able to perform the haircut, to be able to perform the hairstyle, and to be able to perform the cleanup on your station itself again, okay? So you guys are going to have 1 hour to be able to do the haircut, the hairstyling, and the cleaning that you're gonna be doing on your station. Okay, so when you guys are getting ready to start, your this is mannequin, but your client is gonna be draped already. We're still gonna grade you on the Sanex. We're still gonna make sure that the Sanex is protecting your client all the way around and that the drape is not touching the skin itself. So your client can be draped, but we are still gonna grade you on how you put on the Sanex on your client because it is sanitation. All right, guys, so we're gonna go ahead and start going over your station setup itself. So if you guys can see, I know I don't have my bags down here because I don't really have the space for it, but let's pretend my 3 bags are here that you guys always have. Yes, you do need the 3 bags down here, the items to be disinfected, the trash, and the soil linen bags. Okay, so let's just go ahead and pretend like they're down here, okay? So let's cover a little bit on the station. I am gonna set up 2 towels. There's gonna be this towel with all my clean implements, and then I'm gonna have a towel next to it that are gonna be all my soiled instruments. So a lot of stuff as I'm using here and I use it on my client, when I no longer need it on my client and it's full of hair, I'm gonna put it on this side because this side is gonna be my soil side. This is gonna be my dirty side. So these are gonna be my clean implements. These are gonna be my soiled instruments, okay? Now, if you guys see, I have 2 container boxes here. This one's gonna have all my clean instruments that I'm gonna be using for extra tools. Like I could put another Sanex in here. I could put extra combs, brushes, clips, hair clips, gloves, all the extra stuff that you might wanna use in case something falls, something breaks, you need something extra. Try to put whatever extra things that you think that you might need right here, okay? This bottom one, if you guys can read it, it says soiled items to be disinfected. This one's gonna come in at the end. I'm gonna use this container at the end to put the clips, the brushes, the combs, anything that I'm gonna have to take over and wash it and then put it to the disinfectant solution. Okay, so I'm gonna be using this tray at the end. Right now it's empty. Once I'm done and all my soil stuff is here, I'm gonna transfer it here and I'm gonna use this one to carry it over to the shampoo bowl or to the area that I'm gonna be washing it off first. And then I'm gonna put it into my my disinfectant solution, my quads, okay? So obviously we're gonna have our clippers, you have your brushes, your combs, your scissors, your clips, everything that you have here must be clean, disinfected, no hair. We are gonna come up to your station and look at the brush to make sure that they are clean. We're gonna look at the combs, make sure that they are clean. We're gonna look at the brushes, make sure that they are clean. This is gonna be for my client use. This one, I'm gonna put it over here because I'm gonna be using this one for my clippers at the end to clean off my clips, to remove all the hair and dirt and put it over here on this side once it's dirty, okay? So this is my clean side. This is what I use for my clients. This is gonna use for my clippers and everything else on my tools, okay? I like to use this one because it's completely different from this one. So I'm not gonna mix it up. You know, I actually evaluated somebody not that long ago that they were using 2 brushes. They looked exactly the same. One, he said it was for the client. One is supposed to be for the clippers. At the end of the day, they ended up using the same one. They got confused. And whatever they were using for clippers, they started brushing the client's hair. So you want to kind of use something that's going to be completely different, where you're going to be able to notice the difference from one to the other. Okay? So you have your clippers, you have your combs, your brushes. Everything here must be clean, ready to go. Okay? They asked me if the blade should be on the blade holder already. I will say no, because we want to make sure that you know how to put it inside the blade holder. So you're going to have a blade that's going to be for your client right here on the top. We do want to see you break it or open it and put it in your blade holder, because we want to make sure that you know how to do that part. Believe it or not, there's people that don't even know how to put a blade on the blade holder yet, or they don't do it in a safe manner. So the blade should not have a blade in it. We want to see you perform that part as well, okay? On the back part, we have our station. A lot of people I know like to use this one because when your clippers get hot, they like to use this one. Yes, you can use it, but you must disinfect at the end using this one. This is the one that you're gonna use in between clients, okay? So if you use this one, you can use it within the same client, But at the end, when we do our final disinfection, I want to see you guys perform it with this one. This is the one that's State Board approved. If you go to the State Board website, they actually have a picture of this one because they want to make sure that this is on your station at all times. Okay, so then we have the products. I put a little bit of everything because I don't know what my client's gonna want to get done. Again, what I advise you guys is to make sure that you have that consultation with your client. If they have curly hair, you might want to have some gel curl activator. If they have texture hair and they're like, oh, I like it to be messy and texture, you might want to use some of the texture powder, or you can use a little bit of sea salt spray, and that's gonna help you give you that hairstyle that your client needs. If the client's like, oh, I want a lot of volume, but I want it to be nice and slick, but I like it to be tough where it's not gonna be moving around, then I would recommend you guys to use maybe a little bit of hairspray at the end. And the hairspray is gonna kind of lock it in. If your client's like, you know what, I wanna get a comb over or a slick back and I want it to be nice and clean, again, you might wanna do a little bit of hair gel. The gel is gonna give you the stronger hold for somebody that has thicker hair that might need to have more control. So again, depending on the hairstyle that you guys are going to be doing, I recommend you guys to have that consultation with your client ahead of time so that you have the proper hair molding, the equipment that you're going to need. Okay. Now, since we're talking about the hairstyling, if you guys notice, I do have a blow dryer back here on the side, and I actually have two attachments. I have one that goes with the directional flow, and then I have one that's gonna give you a little bit more texture, more styling to it. So again, depending on what hairstyle you're gonna be performing, if somebody says, oh, I want a lot of texture and I want my hair to kind of be messy, and you're using this one, that's not gonna give you what you want. This is more for control, to be able to have it flow in a direction where you're gonna be able to create more control. If somebody tells you they have wavy hair, curly hair, and they want more lift, and they want volume, and they want texture, then you're gonna be using this one. This is the one that's gonna give you that messy style, that messy look, and you wanna make sure you use that one. So again, you wanna make sure that you're using the right tool for the right job, and that's gonna be a big important part. So you guys are gonna be performing the haircut. You're gonna be using your tools as I'm cutting, as I'm shaving, whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm using, I'm gonna be putting it over here on this side. Little by little, they start getting dirty. I'm gonna be doing my haircut throughout the time. Everything that's dirty, I'm gonna be pushing it to this side. I do have another towel here. Remember that when we're gonna be doing the shave at the end, you wanna make sure you remove the drape. You use your towel, you put it around the back, you make sure you clean it up, because that's the towel you're also going to be using to wipe your blade. You're also going to be protecting the client's skin. You're also going to be exposing a little bit more of the neck and the back, because we are going to grade you if you leave neck hairs. So you want to make sure you use a towel to kind of like expose a little bit more and be able to get in there to be able to give it that nice and clean look in the back. Okay, so yes, for the shave in the back, you must remove the drape a little bit. You must put a towel in the back and then perform the shave the right way. Okay, I seen somebody not that long ago that when they did the neck cleanup shave, they didn't remove it. When they remove the drape, you can see the line of hairs in the back. Okay, so you want to make sure you do that step the proper way as well. So that's what this towel is for. Okay, so we performed the haircut already. We did the full cut. We did the styling already. Everything's ready to go. Now we're gonna go ahead and jump in. Again, we're not gonna stop anymore and do everything else. We're gonna give you guys 1 hour, which includes the haircut, the styling, and now we're gonna jump into the sanitation part. And I do wanna show you guys how we want you guys to sanitize to make sure that we guys are doing it all in the same way. We're gonna go ahead and start off. If you guys can see, everything here is already my soil. So everything here has already been used. This towel is already gonna be soiled as well. So this one's already done. Like this is where I had all my clean instruments. So in reality, this towel is clean, but we're not gonna use it again for next time. We're gonna put a new towel here because we're gonna put new clean implements here. And maybe a little bit of hair might have gone in here. So we're not gonna use this towel again. We did the aftershave, we did the water bottle. You guys remember, everything on your station must be labeled. So if you have aftershave, it must say aftershave. If you have a water bottle, it must say water that's in there. Okay, if you have a sprays, everything that you have on your station must say what it is inside, right? And this is when we're talking about products. For when we're talking about, like, if you have a spatula, if you have a bag of gloves, anything that you have in a Ziploc container that's see-through, what State Board really wants to know is whether it's clean or soiled. So you always have to put, if you have a bag of gloves and it's a Ziploc bag, you must put clean gloves or soiled, whatever. So that's the biggest part, and a lot of people tend to not get that right. A lot of people will put gloves on the bag. But what State Board cares about is not so much that what's inside, because they can see that it's gloves, but what they care about is, are these gloves clean or are these gloves soiled? So you want to make sure that everything is labeled whether it's clean or soiled. I would actually even take away points for having something that says gloves rather than not putting gloves and just putting clean or soiled. So if you have a bag that has spatulas and it says clean, I can see their spatulas, but what I want to know is more important is, are they clean or are they soiled? So everything that you have in there must be labeled whether it's clean or soiled. Okay, so now we're gonna get into the sanitation part. Again, these tools are all soiled. This is my universal, so I'm gonna move this to the side. This is the container that I'm gonna be using next. Again, it's empty. It says items to be disinfected, okay? So I'll go ahead and put that, let's say, here. Now I'm gonna open it. Again, this is the brush that I use to be able to clean all my tools. I'm gonna clean on top of my towel, all the hair from my clippers. I'm not gonna put my clippers in here because my clippers are not gonna go get washed, okay? So I'm gonna put my clippers over here. Clean this off, put that over here. This one right here, we're gonna take this off. We're gonna clean inside. We're gonna clean inside. And I'm gonna put it over here. This one, my blade. So you guys, just really quick, there's another thing that we're gonna start changing. We're gonna give you guys we're gonna have them right here in the classroom. They're gonna be some small sharps containers, like some that you would have in your station at the barbershop. And you're gonna be able to borrow those. So right now, if you guys notice, I have this one right here. I do wanna make sure that I can see you guys open the blade, remove the blade. We're gonna put the blade in the sharps containers at all times. And then we're gonna disinfect our blade as well, okay? Now, this one right here, again, a lot of people say that they wanna put it inside their disinfectant solution. Depending on what it's made out of, you might be able to put it in there if it's plastic, but if it's wood, like this is wood, I don't wanna put it inside my solution because it's gonna mess it up. So this one right here, what we'll do is we'll actually wipe it down. We'll spray it with the disinfectant solution on this part where it was touching the skin. And then we're gonna go ahead and just sanitize and disinfect this part right here. But because this is wood, I don't wanna put this inside a Barbicide. If this was full plastic, you can actually put it in there for a little bit and then remove it, wash it down, and let it completely dry. But since this is wood, I'm gonna put it over here where my clippers. All my clippers over here, I'm gonna be disinfecting them at the same time. So right now I'm just putting them over here. I just removed some of the hair debris that was on them, okay? Everything else here is gonna go inside of here except for my scissors. So my scissors, again, I wanna clean them off. Clean off all the hair. We don't put scissors inside the Barbicide because remember, Barbicide is 95% almost water. And if the water starts getting inside the screws, your scissors are gonna start rusting. And in reality, if you think about it, the scissors do not touch the scalp or the skin of the client. They're only cutting the hair. So those, if you have the Barbicide wipes or if you have alcohol wipes, you can actually use the alcohol wipes to clean off the blades, okay? Everything else here, we're gonna clean it here. Remove all the excess hair. Okay, when I'm done with this, now I can close this off. This is gonna be taken to get disinfected. This towel is dirty, so we're gonna remove this one. And this goes in my in my soiled linen bag in the bottom. Now we're gonna go ahead and disinfect this right here. So we have now remember I told you guys, this is the one that we're gonna be using in between clients. We're gonna grab this. We're gonna spray it and spray it, okay? And I'm doing this on top of my towel because again, I don't wanna spray it over here. I don't wanna spray it on the floor. I don't wanna spray it because this has oil as well. This prevents rust, so that means that it has oil. So I don't wanna spray it on the side and have the floor full of oil. They will take away points if you guys spray some of this on the floor and it starts getting oily. So you wanna do it on top of a towel. And this one right here, we must remove this. Spray where the blades are at inside as well to disinfect it. Okay, this one right here, same thing. Okay, and then we're gonna allow this to be able to process for, again, 10 to 15 minutes. That's what the spray tells you, to be able to let it process. We're gonna let it sit for 10 to 15 minutes, but everything right here is clean. Remember, this towel originally was our clean items. So by us leaving stuff here, it's okay. Nothing's gonna happen, okay? And then I would, again, we're gonna leave this one. Now my station is nice and clean. We're gonna remove, if I have hair on my station, I'm gonna remove all the hair. Get rid of everything, make my station look nice and clean and organized. Sanitize my hands at the end, and then we are done. Okay guys, so just a couple of tips that I wanna give you guys for this final exam. Number one, get a model that you can actually see their skin a little bit. You don't wanna get somebody that has a bunch of acne or pimples in the back where it's gonna make it very hard for you to shave. So getting the correct model for this final exam is gonna make a huge difference. Somebody that has maybe a good way for the hair to blend out easy. That's something that you might wanna look at as well. Somebody that doesn't have a bunch of colics running all over the place is something that you might wanna look at as well. So getting ready for this exam by getting your model that you really would wanna have is a big important part of this, okay? Also, again, you might want to start practicing timing yourself, because I feel like a lot of students, that's where they lack of. They don't get to finish on time. We're actually extending your time a little bit. We were doing 45 minutes plus a 5-minute cleanup. We're giving you guys an extra 10 minutes. So now it's 1 hour, which includes everything, including the cleanup at the end. So you have a little bit of more time, but again, you don't want to be pressured in time. You want to get a model that you already worked with before. You want to get somebody that's okay for you to cut their hair as well. We've actually had people where at last minute, oh no, I don't want to cut nothing from the top, and they can't even do their final exam no more. We have to reschedule, and it's just a mess after that. So make sure you guys communicate with your model, make sure that they're okay with everything that you're going to be performing. One more thing that I want to tell you guys too, and I'm telling you because I just had this happen at the other school, is you got to understand, we're not asking you to do a perfect fade. We're not asking for something that looks super blurry. We want something where we don't see lines, because honestly, if I look at your haircut and I see a bunch of lines, a bunch of divisions, that means that your system is not working. That means that you're not connecting from one to the other. And that's an important part, because you can actually lose a couple points. One, it can be under the fade category. Two, you're gonna look at the operations. So it is important for you guys to make sure that your fade looks decent, that your blend looks connected. We don't expect a super blurry fade, but we do want you guys to do a good job. Okay, but the most important, and I'm telling you guys this is really important, the most important part of this is the sanitation, the client protection, the health and safety, and the just maintaining everything nice, clean, and organized. Okay, clean your canvas as you're going. Make sure you're not making a mess. Sanitize your stuff at the end when it is cleanup time. Clean your station. That's what state board's really gonna care about when they go to your shop and they look at that. So you wanna make sure that you understand that part. Like, the most important part, a big part of your grade is the sanitation, the health and safety, the protection of your client, the irritation on the skin. That's what we really care about, because to be honest with you, once you get your license, the haircut perfection will come at the shop. But by that point, you would have known the most important part, which is the sanitation, the health and safety, and protection of the client. because that's really at the end of the day what we're here for. That's really at the end of the day what State Board wants us to really push and impress in your head, is to be able to make sure that you're sanitizing and cleaning the correct way. Okay, so one last thing that I want to do, this is the last advice that I give you guys, is test out everything you have. You have no idea how many times we are testing somebody and their water bottle doesn't work, and the product that they're using doesn't work. I had somebody using texture powder and they were shaking it and pushing it and nothing would come out. So that's gonna completely take away a lot of points from your hairstyling, application of product. You know, we have different categories when we're evaluating you. If you guys look at your graduation, and the teacher can show you one of the grade sheets that we use to evaluate you guys, we have categories. We go from application of product, we go to operations, we looked at category for says fade. We actually have a category that says consultation. That's an important part as well. And one of the things for the consultation that I just had happen is, again, consultation means everything. We're talking about the kind of hairstyle that they want. Maybe when was the last time they cut your hair? Is there any specific problems that you have with your hairstyle that you would want me to work on? Are you allergic to anything? And the allergic to anything does come in important, because nowadays a lot of barbers use latex gloves. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of people that are allergic to latex. So you want to make sure that you ask them, are you allergic to anything? You know, because I've actually seen a couple barbers, all of them wearing gloves when they're cutting their hair, and they never bothered to ask their client if they were allergic to latex. And a lot of people are allergic to latex. That's why there's actually a lot of boxes that are latex free. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're asking them that part on the consultation. Are they okay with the blade? You know, do they get ingrown hairs if they shave against the grain? Are they okay with shaving against the grain? You know, so these are important things that you want to ask when you're talking to your client in the consultation part, okay? But again, you want to make sure you test out the items that you're going to be using. You don't want the aftershave not to work. You don't want the water bottle to not work. You don't want your blow dryer to not be working when you need it. Test out your products before you do your final exam, because if it doesn't work, we are going to take away points. We're not going to allow you to go over there and borrow another one from somebody else. You need to be ready to go by the time we start this procedure. Okay, so one more thing. I know some people are going to say, well, Omar, you didn't even do the haircut itself. To be honest with you, it's not about the haircut. This video is not about the haircut. This video is about kind of like the whole procedure itself. And it's hard for me to do a haircut demo because at the end of the day, it's going to depend up to your model. Whatever your model is asking you to do, that's what you have to perform. So it could be a taper, it could be a comb over, it could be texture, it could be messy, it could be a slick back. I mean, there's so much of a variations on hairstyles, I can't really do a demo for that. Just remember that we are going to be looking for some kind of a system. You know, when you're cutting the hair on the top, what kind of system are you using? Are you using guidelines? Can I see you connecting guidelines? Every time you pick up hair, I'm going to want to see there's a guide that you're following. So as long as you're following a system on the side on the fade, I might ask you at the beginning, oh, tell me the system that you're going to be using for your fade. And when you tell me the system, I'm going to write it down, and then I'm going to see you perform it. And I'm going to see if you're following that system. And then at the end, overall haircut, I'm going to see whether the system worked or it didn't work. So there's no specific system that we're asking you to do. There's not a specific haircut that we're asking you to do. That's going to be up to your client, and the system to perform whatever your client is asking you is going to be up to you. We just want to make sure that they both connect, you know, that the hairstyle that your client is asking you and the system that you're performing, they make sense. Because at the end of the day, that's what really matters, okay? So, you know, make sure that you guys are following the system, and we should be good.